Hello, my name is Michele Gay. I want to thank all of you for joining us. Today, I'd like to talk about a novel approach to school safety. I want to talk about multi-tiered systems of support, commonly known as MTSS, and how it directly relates to the work of keeping our schools safe and sound. Those of you who know a little bit about MTSS are likely educators or school-based mental health providers, as MTSS is typically seen as an academic framework. But I'm here to tell you it's much more than that. It's a proactive tiered support system that can help us prepare for and address both academic and behavioral needs of students. In the context of school safety and security, MTSS can play a crucial role by establishing an early identification system for behavioral issues, mental health concerns, and other risks. In fact, our schools are increasingly adopting MTSS to create safer, more supportive environments for students, as it promotes a culture of early intervention, prevention, and care for the whole child. In fact, we at Safe and Sound Schools offer a program called Pathways for Prevention devoted entirely to teaching the application of MTSS across a wide variety of challenging school safety topics, from emotional awareness to threatening behaviors, suicide and bully prevention, and more. But why does this approach really matter for school safety? It's because creating a safe school isn't just about physical security measures. It's about fostering an environment where students feel welcome, noticed, and emotionally supported, and where all early warning signs are identified well before they can escalate into bigger issues. To put it simply, it's an upstream approach, an investment on the front end, to be sure, that can save us immeasurably by building these pathways for prevention, as we call them, in advance. Now let's talk about how this issue shows up in our schools and why it's something we need to pay close attention to. In schools today, it's no secret staff members are seeing a tremendous increase in behavioral challenges, bullying, mental health concerns, threats of violence, and as I and far too many other parents and communities have experienced, tragedy and loss. Many schools are struggling with how to identify which students need additional support before these issues become critical, let alone determine interventions on a case-by-case basis. Let's be real here. Educators and staff are already stretched thin, trying to balance their primary duties in the building, on the bus, and across the campus, while also responsible for student safety. Without a clear system like MTSS in place, identifying students at risk for behavioral or emotional issues can feel overwhelming and, frankly, reactive. The problem here is that without an integrated support framework, students with emerging mental health concerns, behavioral issues, or even signs of disengagement can go unnoticed until their challenges escalate into something much more serious. Whether that's truancy, aggression, or in tragic cases like ours, catastrophic threats to school safety. MTSS can help alleviate this by providing a structured, data-driven approach to identifying at-risk students and intervening early, ensuring that school staff are supported in addressing students' needs proactively. So what can we do to address these concerns effectively? Let's break it down with 5 key strategies. First, early identification. Implementing regular screenings to identify students who might be experiencing emotional, behavioral, or social difficulties. This allows our schools to flag potential safety concerns before they become much larger problems. Second, tiered interventions. With an MTSS approach, it starts with Tier 1, where we provide a positive school climate and universal behavioral expectations for all students. For students showing more concerning behaviors or challenges, Tier 2 and Tier 3 interventions provide more targeted and intensive support. Third, collaboration between staff and mental health professionals. School staff, from bus drivers and school nurses to teachers and SROs and everybody in between, should work very closely with school psychologists, counselors, and behavioral specialists. This collaborative team approach ensures that the interventions are aligned with the students' needs and reduces the burden on individual staff members. Fourth, data-driven decision-making. Collecting and analyzing behavioral data to assess whether interventions are working and making adjustments as needed. This helps schools to be agile in their responses, using data to guide their actions rather than relying solely on intuition or risking harmful knee-jerk reactions and wasting time on trial and error. And lastly, professional development. Continuous training for teachers and staff on how to recognize early warning signs of behavioral or emotional distress, manage classroom behaviors, and apply MTSS strategies in the context of school safety. By taking these steps, schools can build a comprehensive safety net around their students, fostering a safer, more supportive learning environment. Let's bring this to life with a real-world example. I want you to imagine a middle school where a group of students begins to show early signs of disengagement, poor attendance, decreased academic performance, and minor behavioral incidents like talking back or skipping class. With an MTSS framework, these behaviors would trigger Tier 1 interventions, such as reinforcing school-wide expectations for behavior and improving school climate. But let's imagine for 2 students, these universal strategies don't seem to be enough. Their teachers notice that they're becoming increasingly withdrawn and irritable, and one student begins posting concerning messages on social media. At this point, the school's MTSS team initiates Tier 2 interventions, the behavioral threat assessment team becomes involved, and the students are provided small group counseling focused on coping skills and check-ins with a counselor or school psychologist. And all of this is done in collaboration with students' families. Now, further down the road, we see that for one student, the interventions are effective, but for the other, more intensive support is needed. This student moves to Tier 3, where the behavioral threat assessment team manages the case. The student receives one-to-one mental health counseling and is connected with a community-based mental health provider. As a result, the school is able to de-escalate a potential safety risk while ensuring that all students receive the appropriate level of support. This simple case demonstrates how MTSS not only improves individual student outcomes, but also enhances the overall safety and security of the school community by preventing issues long before they escalate into something more serious. Multi-tiered systems of support are essential for fostering safe, supportive, and responsive school environments. By implementing proactive interventions, focusing on data-driven decisions, and addressing both academic and behavioral challenges, schools can better ensure the safety of their students. I encourage you to reflect on how your school can improve its use of MTSS. Are you screening for both academic and behavioral concerns? Do you have the right interventions in place at each tier? And how are you using data to guide your decisions? Together, we can build safer, more supportive schools through the effective implementation of MTSS. Once again, I want to thank you all for joining us and for all that you do to keep our schools and our students, each and every one of them, safe and sound.